Welcome to the next chapter of As the Story Grows. I'm Bram Patton. Last night I went to see Newfound Glory on their Sticks and Stones 20th anniversary tour. The first time I've seen live music since December of 2019, and it was incredible. There was a 7-year-old girl on her father's shoulders, headbanging with her horns up for 4 Year Strong's entire set. And then I saw a dude in his 60s or 70s singing along to every song that Newfound Glory did. From 70 to 7 and every age in between, it was an incredible shared experience with strangers. Music bonds us together, even if only for a few hours. I just love music, and I love getting to share these interviews with you guys, and I hope you discover new bands and new music to fall in love with every week, every time there's an artist you're unfamiliar with. This week, we welcome Thornhill frontman Jacob Charlton to the podcast. Thornhill released Heroine last Friday on UNFD Records. The band was on their first US tour when I talked with Jacob. They had just gotten back to the States from Canada. Jacob talks about his transition from drummer to frontman, discovering the scene in Melbourne, Australia, and making the musical shift away from metalcore. Heroine is an incredible record that blends metal, shoegaze, and 90s alternative rock, and I highly recommend checking it out. It's one of my favorites of 2022 so far. So I hope you dig the song clips you hear, and I hope you enjoy getting to know Jacob Charlton from Thornhill. Awesome. How's tour going for you guys?
Yeah, really good actually. Reception's been insane for us. Definitely not what I expected. But the US is a lot, as you can imagine. Just came back from Canada last night though. And they turn up. So it's been very sick.
That's awesome. Is this your guys' first time stateside?
Yeah, none of us have even been to the States before.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I was talking to someone yesterday, and I said I think for a lot of people, it's like now that shows are back, it's like everybody's going and just like losing their minds.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just like after so much nothing, you kind of get thrown in the deep end of too much in a way. It's just like, whoa, oh my God. Can't believe we're here, but we're not just on tour, we're in another country.
That's cool. You originally from Melbourne?
Yeah, we're all based in Melbourne.
That's awesome. What was growing up there like?
It's not that like different from America, I don't think. Like, there's definitely some similarities we started to see, but it's like somewhere in the middle of UK and America, I think, Australia. But no, for Melbourne, we all grew up pretty close to each other, I think. Ethan and I have always lived pretty close to each other, so yeah, it's been cool. We went to the same school and everything.
That's cool. What got you into music?
That's a great question. I think Mum used to play a lot of music around the house, and I think I just used to bop to it as a kid. I used to just break dance to excess. And then I think they put me into piano when I was 4, and then I kind of just went from there and just learned different instruments as I kind of got older. But I think vocals was my last thing I did. I didn't really get into that until the band properly, because I think I started on piano, guitar, and then bass, and then drums, and then kind of moved to vocals when we didn't have a vocalist.
Did you know you could sing already, or was it just like, well, somebody's got to do it, I might as well try?
It was 50-50. Like, I used to be in a choir, I guess, but like that's, for anyone that's been in a choir, it's very different. Like, they teach you how to sing, but they don't teach you how to sing as an individual. They teach you how to sing as a group. And I was still like, it was before my voice broke. So, you know, once your voice breaks, you kind of have to relearn how to sing all over again.
Right.
So I would say, like, yes and no, because when we started the band, I was kind of like, yeah, okay, I'll just try, I'll give it a crack, but I don't know how to do it, and then I had to learn after a while, because touring just killed my voice.
Wow. That's wild. What got you kind of into, like, punk, metal, hardcore music?
Well, it was kind of a slow burn. I kind of started drums when I was in year 7 for us. What's that for you guys? Is that you guys have like a weird setup of systems of high school, don't you? You got like middle school. Is that middle school?
Yeah, middle school. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I started drums then, and some guys asked me to be in a band with them, and I was like, hell yeah, that sounds sick. I'd love to play drums in a band. But the only music that they liked was like Metallica and Slayer and stuff, and I hadn't listened to that before. So I kind of like got into that, and then gradually got into, you know, bands like Parkway Drive and August Burns Red and stuff, and then kind of landed on the stuff that we started with. So yeah, it was weird. It was not really like, I didn't find it myself. I kind of just got thrown into it just to be in a band at the start, but then I started to like other genres of it.
That's cool. What was the scene like when you were in middle school for like high school years, you know, that teenage years? Like, what was the scene like there in Melbourne?
We didn't know. Ethan and I didn't know about any of that, really. Like, we went to, like, 1 or 2 shows just before the band started, which was, like, when we were in, like, year 12 or year 11 or something. So we actually didn't even know there was such thing as a scene, or we don't know anything about the music industry at that point. Like, we kind of just found out when we started a band that was a thing, and that was a community and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's been pretty funny because, like, the rest of the band knew because they'd been in music for a while, but, like, us two had no idea.
Wow. That's wild. How did Thornhill get started?
Thornhill got started because I think Ethan and I kind of liked the same music at the time, and we wanted to make a band for Battle of the Bands in high school. And so we kind of linked up with the same music and played our first Battle of the Bands, had a really good time, and like gradually became closer friends and liked the same music, and we're like, okay, let's do this. As soon as we finish high school, like, let's start a band and properly do it. And then I think Cage, which is our bassist, he found us on YouTube. He found Ethan's like Northland guitar cover, and he messaged him and was like, hey, can you join my band? And Ethan was like, no, come join mine. And then he ended up doing that. Maida was our drummer in high school. He was a year below us. So us three all went to high school together. And MVD is our manager. He was managing us from the start. And then when Sam left, who was our original guitarist, he joined. So yeah.
That's cool. Right. Where'd the name come from?
It was Ethan's street name. We had a party at his one time when we were like really at the start of trying to figure out what the band was going to be called, and I just walked to his house and I saw the sign and I was like, oh, that'd be funny. Parkway did that, and I love Parkway. And then we just did it, and it was the best name we could think of, and we're like, all right, fine, whatever, let's do it.
There's so many band names that are just like, yeah, it's the street we lived on. Or
yeah, basically, yeah. It's just, the band names are hard.
how'd you guys end up on UNFD?
I think they just came to a show. Like, I think they just scouted us, really. Like, it was coincidence, because we always loved that label. Ethan and I were always like, well, like, all the cool bands are on that when we were growing up. And we all both had T-shirts, like UNFD T-shirts and shit. So we were very stoked when they kind of approached us at a show, even though we played absolutely horrible at that show. And I, like, pulled the mic lead out of the mic. Yeah, they just came to a couple shows and we became friends and kind of were in talks for a while, and then, yeah, signed on for Butterfly, and the rest is history.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What was the COVID pandemic like for you guys over in Australia? I mean, I know you guys were pretty strict over there, yeah?
Yeah, it lasted so long. It was just continuous lockdowns. Yeah, it lasted basically like 2 years. I think we were able to sneak in one regional tour somehow, which was sick because we needed it for our sanity and, like, to have the energy to write the next record. But yeah, it was pretty hard for us all to not see each other and not be able to write and do that sort of stuff. So we kind of had to learn how to write remotely, and that was a very big struggle in itself. Yeah, and you guys released The Dark Pool kind of on the latter half of 2019, and you were in tour in Europe supporting that. Like, did you have big 2020 plans that, like, just got completely shut down? Oh, yeah, absolutely. We had some massive 2020 plans. Like, I guess, yeah, it all kicked in when we were on the flight home from Europe, and we were supposed to go and play Download. Yeah, everything just got binged just continuously for that entire 2 years. But it's all right. We've got different opportunities now, and the record wouldn't be what it is now without that time, So I guess trying to take the good with the bad and not get stuck into, like, feeling upset that we missed opportunities, because everyone's in the same boat.
Yeah. Was it always your plan to release the instrumentals and isolated vocals for The Dark Pool?
Instrumentals for sure. The isolated vocals was just as a joke. I just didn't expect, totally didn't expect people to actually want that. And it was really funny when they did. So that was really cool to find out. But nah, I don't know if we'll ever do that again. But it was, for what it was worth, it was really fun.
With this new record, what led to the headspace and the change in sound sonically? Like, you guys, especially on The Dark Pool, it's not like a, like, punch you in the face metalcore record. I mean, it's very anthemic arena rock metalcore, lots of clean vocals and big hooks. But what led to this shift in doing something more in a shoegaze, grungy sound?
I think a couple of things. I think Europe really put in perspective live music a lot for us too. Like, you play 25 shows of your set constantly, like every day, and it's like, what do I want to do? Like, what am I missing when I play? Like, what more do I want from this? And I think a lot of that headspace goes into the next record. And I think we were just in a space with, not being able to do much, that we kind of got down the rabbit hole of, like, film and 90s aesthetic and MTV rock, and just, like, wanting rock bands to become a thing again. Like, I just remember that rock bands used to be so cool and edgy, and, like, they didn't give a shit, and they dress however they want, they don't care. Like, it's more about, here's our music, here's our attitude, here's our emotion. And I think that that's missing a lot now, especially in heavy music. And it was just something that we wanted to, like, have a go at, because we thought we could do it in our own way. And yeah, we kind of just followed that feeling, and it led to where we got with the record, I think.
That's cool. Yeah, the record, it's funny, I listened to the new record a lot and like jammed it a lot over the last week.
Oh, really?
And then I went, I've had the chance to listen to the whole thing. Yeah, I love it. I think it's incredible. But it was funny going back and listening to the Dark Pool after it, because I'd not listened to the Dark Pool yet, and I was like, oh, this is different. It's a whole different vibe. But like, you can hear, because I listened to the new one first and I went backwards, you could hear where I think you are going by listening to the discography backwards. You can hear how it's going to grow and change, because like I said, it's not like you guys are a punch you in the face metalcore band already. It was already big.
Yeah.
Rock and roll based anyway, so.
Yeah. That's what we thought. We didn't think it was like that big of a jump, but like, if people haven't heard the full thing yet, I guess. You just got to hear the whole thing in context. We very much believe that we're an album band, and that it's a lot easier to digest as a whole, because that's how we intended the art. So I guess we'll have to see from release day what people think. Yeah. Where'd the name Heroine come from? Heroine was the name of the song before it was the name of the album. So I have like, in my notes, I have so many, like lists of names and things that I've found, but I think a lot of the time, the biggest influences for me were like female singers on this record, just because I feel like they do a really good job of like showcasing attitude and charisma through their voice. And so I guess like that heroine figure was a big one for this song, for the way that I sang and the way the story moves. And so once we cracked that song, Ethan was like, I think we should name the album after this one, because it means a lot to us for like the writing process and the lyrical content. So that's kind of where that one came from. That's
cool. You have a few singles out right now. You've been on tour. What's the reception been like to the new stuff?
Been pretty sick. Like, actually really good. Cass is probably our favorite to play, and it seems to be a crowd favorite now, which is very funny. Also, you're going to hear my voice wobbling a lot, because fucking there's a lot of bumps on this road, apparently. And I'm just laying down. No, crowd reaction actually has been sick. Like, I think a lot of people are, like, they don't want to move too hard because they want to see it and they want to hear it, and they want to, like, soak those ones in, which I understand. But Cass has been going off. We're going to get wall of deaths every night, which is very funny, because people always said it wasn't that heavy. And now, like, once people hear it live, they're like, oh, okay, I take it back. I feel like we've gotten a lot of, like, people come up to us at merch being like, oh, actually, I didn't like the new stuff at first, but I understand it now after seeing it. And I think we knew that would be the case a bit, but it's also really cool to see people, you know, being honest and giving us another chance, I guess.
Yeah, it feels like the type of music where, like, the guitars will be so loud and overwhelming live that, like, you just can't help but be into it.
Yeah, and the drums are just so full on. Like, I think you see how hard we're actually going.
Yeah. Has it been difficult kind of mixing the new stuff in with the old stuff in a set?
No, it's not too hard. It does suck, like, playing the old stuff, though, because I just want to play all the new stuff now. But then I forget that it's not even out yet. It's just because it's been out for us for years.
Right.
But it's been, like, I think they deserve to hear all the new stuff and the old stuff still, like, because we still have to play, you know, cool songs, because we've never toured in America before, and that was the record a lot of people found when they found us. So it's been cool to see the reception to, like, songs like Lily in the Moon and the sing-alongs and things like that. So it's been really cool.
What were your lyrical influences and inspiration, and what type of things were you writing about on this record?
Definitely kind of film-based stuff. Like, I don't write real world a lot in general, just because I don't know, it's just not my process. I had a different process of writing lyrics on this one, where I would kind of freestyle everything and just press record and have my headphones in and kind of just like, who am I in this? Like, what character am I in this scene that Ethan's kind of given me sonically? Like, what am I feeling? What do I want to express? How do I want to describe to the audience what this mood is? And I kind of went through it and wrote it down like a film score, kind of like a script. So it's all in script form, kind of like, imagine kind of like Romeo and Juliet, Shakespeare-y kind of. That's how I wrote the lyrics, very like poetic in a way. And it's not just about every line has to have a rhyming word. It's like, it's supposed to tell a story through the way that I sing it rather than what I'm writing it as. And so I'd say a lot of the lyrical concept is kind of just based on the mood and the atmosphere that we created.
That's cool. You have about 2 to 3 weeks left on this tour in the States. Yeah. What's the rest of the year look like for you guys?
Very, very busy. I'll tell you that much. We have a couple of tours coming up, a couple more international. We've got our headline tour in July, and then we go straight to another tour, and then we do August Burns Red in Europe in October. We've got a lot, and then trying to write more music in the time we're home. It's going to be a very insane 2 years for us. Give it a chance. If anything, I would say come see it live. I think the things we have planned for it and the way that it sounds is going to make sense to a lot more people when you come and experience it. Mm-hmm. And I think that having an open mind when listening to music and letting like the artist kind of take you and guide you through what they're after is more important than just listening and never listening again, you know. Just always like sit down and have time for a record rather than just chucking it on. I just wish music was back like that, like it was in the 90s, where it was difficult to go and get the CDs of the bands that you liked and it was a big deal. Like that's kind of what we're trying to emulate here.
Thanks for listening to As the Story Grows. Our intro music was written and composed by Jeremy Hunt. The As the Story Grows theme is by Bob Nana. If you like what you hear, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and give us a rating and review. If you'd like to support the show financially, you can join us at patreon.com/asthestorygrows. Be a part of our community and join the ongoing conversation over on Discord. If you enjoy this episode, share it on social media with your friends. Much appreciated, and thanks for listening.
I never felt so young and alive as when I'm diving into a tune. And now I'm learning as I listen along, and the wheels are turning, and I started a song. One good word and I'm gone. Oh, as the story grows, the more I wanna know. Words